Day three!
Leadership Academy, guys. Hello, welcome back to another one. So, today was honestly, again, yet another long day of great transformation, great change. I think the number one thing that stood out today was the triad. So, like we talked about yesterday, the triad is basically this: your state is your physiology, your focus, and your language. And when you think about that, like we alluded to in the other video, you have, a way that you're constantly, habitually putting your focus onto things, the meaning and the language that you give things, and how your body moves, operates, functions, and whatnot. And that was a huge centerpiece today going through Leadership Academy Day 3 was a lot of talk about the triad, and then specifically steps 6 and 7 of the master steps here. So I guess kind of like what we're going to talk about today is some of our experience through some of the exercises and how we're really planning to rehearse and condition a new triad, which honestly is really powerful because, before today, we kind of had an idea of, what the triad entailed, but now it's a lot more clear, and we kind of have a better idea on what we want to change, what we believe about, the change that needs to occur, and why it's important to us, and what elements of our focus and our physiology and our language that we want to have instead. Because at the end of the day, as a human, as a person, as a whatever you are to anyone else, like everyone else has a triad too, and kind of the whole mission and point of what I think Leadership Academy is to teach you that your triad is really important and that you want to be focusing on becoming not only aware of the current triad that you have, but coming up with a new one, that you can intentionally design and then start conditioning yourself to lead yourself towards. Not only that, but it's the same thing with other people in your life, whether you're in business, whether you're working with people, whatever it is that you're doing, people have triads too. So that's what the whole 7 master steps are, right? It's like you want to use these steps to help influence people's triads and, really build rapport with them, help them make the changes that they might need to change, whether it's small or big, changing the patterns of their triads, which is what we're doing individually. And it's twofold where, you can help people do it too. Getting problems in solvable terms, like for me today, the whole exercise was like my main idea. It was like, oh yeah, like I was living in like an emotional stress triad, and I want to live in more of a peaceful triad rather than like going through life where everything stresses me out. It's like, how can I attach pain to my purpose? Like how can I create the way that I'm living in a way where it's more peaceful despite all of the emotional stress that I've been dealing with. The current triad. A triad's a habit, a triad's a state, a triad's a pattern. And I became aware of it today, and I was like, hey, yeah, I want to live in a triad where I'm always at peace. Where I'm feeling powerful and prideful despite, how my body is, where my focus is at, what meaning and language that I'm giving things. It's, a totally different reality, life existence, consciousness, whatever you want to call it. It's totally different when you have a new triad, when you're living through a new triad, when you've mastered your triad. Everyone has one triad, and that's a triad you're going to have for the rest of your life, so might as well be intentional with it. And yeah, that's kind of my take on it.
I don't think it's one triad.
What do you mean?
I think you don't just have one triad. You have...
No. I mean, like, it's like if you're a human, then you like obviously are like one human the rest of your life.
Right.
It's like if you have...
But from moment to moment,
you have one triad. It's like if you have 2 eyeballs, you have 2 eyeballs for the rest of your life. It's like if you have a life, then you have a triad. That triad could take different form. It's like if you change your clothes every day, if you like, wear a different hat or different shoes or whatever have you, it's like your triad is something that you are being, right? So if you become aware of what you are being as a triad, you are then able to design a better triad, interrupt the pattern, link pain and pleasure towards the different, meaning associated to that triad, how you use your body, what you focus on, and then that's how your life changes, right? That's how you change other people. That's how you know, make lasting change. And that was kind of, I guess, the whole idea of today.
Yeah, I think just to make it a little less, like a little more simple, is from moment to moment throughout your days, you go through ups and downs, highs and lows, and that is the changing of your triad throughout the day. So, again, triad physiology. Are you breathing deeply or shallow? Are you slunched over? Or are you in a confident pose? Like the focus. What are you focusing on in the moment? And how is that affecting the rest of your triad? The meaning you're giving things, the language you're using, or how you're using your body. So why we're harping on triad is because at the center of change, it's how that person is showing up with their physiology, focus, and language and meaning. And it's so easy to observe other people's triads, like, oh, like no wonder why you feel bad. You keep focusing on like how big of a failure that was, or how that didn't work your way, etc. Whatever the example is. But we really took today to focus inward on our triad, and it shows up in behaviors that we want to change. So I know for you, like you said, the emotional stress, so that could show up as like avoidance or escapism, and mine was like a sense of fake comfort, right? So I'll also escape. I'll do things that don't make me feel great, like I'll avoid work or take a nap, or put things off. And that was my old triad, which was my physiology was like shallow breathing. I would be like slumped or just like inactive, and you can just kind of feel the pressure on yourself when you get in that triad. I was focusing on comfort, like conserving my energy, and mostly just focused on myself, what I could do for short-term pleasure. And then what my language is I'm exhausted, I'm drained, I'm stressed, like I will do it tomorrow, it doesn't even matter. And so that was the old triad. That's the one that we completely destroyed, I'll never see again. And now the new triad, you then get the person in the state of like the positive emotions, which is really cool because we saw Ryan go get coached by one of the fellow participants. It was like a
Intervention.
Intervention, yeah. And it was like, okay, well, what do you want to feel instead of that old triad? What do you want to feel instead of like slouchy, or in Ryan's case, stressed? And you said if you want to like walk through that, it was like want to feel powerful and like
the
proud.
peace. Like that was really the main
peace.
idea. Yeah, like I shared.
And so for me, it was like I want to feel confident, in control. And so how would you stand if you were like that? What would you be focusing on? What's the language you would use? And so that's really how to build your own triad. And it probably sounds really complex because I know at our first UPW, I was like,
I don't think it's that complex.
I don't even know what triad was.
I think it's pretty straightforward. I mean...
No, I'm saying now I understand. I get it now. It's very straightforward.
It's seeing how it all ties together, though. Because you could be hearing this and say, oh, that might sound interesting, but, what does it have to do with, like the bigger picture of my being? Well, it's a triad because a triad is something that never turns off until you die, obviously. But the idea being is like you have a level of, leadership. Everyone has a level of leadership, right? And like, I forget what page it was on. Do you remember? But there's like the depth of your leadership, and then there's the breadth
44.
of your leadership. And I think it was really interesting, right? Because when you look at your triad, like you might still, no matter what you do in your lifetime, like you may still be able to influence people once you pass on in life. And I think
141.
141. All right, guys, our 165 page journal here. I got to swift through 141.
Yeah.
All right, yeah. So it's like the depth in the breadth, breadth of leadership. It's how you serve the greater good. You want to be able to serve yourself on the first level. You want to be able to serve other people singularly, then you want to serve a group of people, and then you want to serve groups of people without your presence. That's the breadth, BREADTH, or the scale of leadership. And then there's the depth, DEPTH, of leadership. So it's your ability to create change in a moment, like your triad. Like, oh, I'm focusing on something sad. It's like, how could I, lead myself to focus on something happy? It's like, how could I shift things around where it's like, yeah, like I want to just focus on the good thing. Like that's level one. Level two is context throughout time. Like you want to not only lead in the moment, but create change over time, through time. That's not just helping individuals change in the moment, but you make change at last. That's conditioning the new triad, what we're talking about here. And then level three is you can create change that influence and shifts entire lives. So you influence the way people think, feel, react, respond, and take action in multiple contexts throughout time. That's really where you get into the worldview, values, beliefs, and the things that will guide them when you're no longer around. Like think about lasting leadership, lasting influence, right? And level four is you create change when you transfer the responsibility to not only create culture, but also create leadership amongst each other. So this is the highest level of leadership that it gets. The deeper you dive, the better. And you can influence others so potently for the greater good that they not only get the job done, but they shape their own values and they influence others for the greater good as well. And I think that's like from like a higher level, like what the whole triad is even for, right? It's like that's the mechanical side of changing your reality and changing other people's reality, because you use leadership as a vehicle, right? But if you're gonna for example, use a car as a vehicle, that car is going to need some sort of engine, and that triad is the engine. And that's what we learned all about today, and we got clear on what is our current triad and how is that affecting us, what is that costing us, and rearranging the pain and pleasure linkage towards it and defining it in a solvable term. Like I, again, was punching away with Claude and ChatGPT today, so like I was able to get ultra clear, listing out like the 17, 18 things that are a part of my triad that are screwing me up, and then just literally just flip it. Like, what is the opposite of these? That's all you gotta do. Like, what are you focusing on? List that out. What do you do with your body? List that out. What is the meaning of the language that you give everything? List those out, and then from there, look at what that theme is, and then name that triad. For me, it was the emotional stress triad. That's how I was living internally. I was just living in a way where it was affecting every area of my life, from my relationships to work to everything. And then you just literally flip it, like you just say, hey, what are the opposite of all those? You name that one, and then you just start conditioning that one until it gets to a point where you get the result that you were after, like for changing it to begin with. And like that's what I was realizing is like it's gonna take a lot of time, right? Because for me, like the old triad was living in emotional stress instead of emotional peace. Like that's a sucky thing to be living in, is constant emotional stress. And I got to the point where like this must change now. Not, oh yeah, like I should, because then I would just should all over myself. And I didn't just say, oh, I want to change, because it's like, okay, everyone wants to change, but I must change now makes it like, okay, boom, I'm no longer going to live in emotional stress. I'm going to live in emotional peace. And this is my triad that's going to be the vehicle that gets me there. And yeah, I mean, like this seems like a very high level talk. Like I don't think there is really any room for simplicity, because we're breaking down like another 13 hours into like another 15-20 minute video again. But this is really the name of the game, guys. Like these videos were just meant to be reviews. If you guys are interested in going to the event, which I think this is like the last time they're doing it. So I think if anyone ever watches this video from 2026 on, there won't even be the possibility of doing it. Tony's rebranding it to it's like the leadership certification program, which I was learning all about today. But if anything, for the sake of history, like it's kind of crazy to think about, but the material is great, guys. No matter where you're at, this stuff is timeless. It's proven. Hundreds of thousands of people are using it every day. And it's nice, like the younger, the sooner you can get into it, I think the better, because this stuff just compounds over time. There's just so much great stuff that comes from it. So it's going to be interesting. You know, this is one of those videos that I feel like Sam and I would look back at in some time and be like, okay, yeah, like how's that triad looking? Like, because there's no way to fail. Like with this whole thing, right? The way that we just explained this to you guys, there's no way you can screw this up. Like if you just get aware on your triad, you know, and then make a new one and then just condition it every day, like show up to rehearsal and get it in your body, like focus on the 3 levels of mastery, it's like boom, you are a completely new person. And then once you get there, it's like you just keep making it better. You know, it's like it never has to stop per se. But yeah, this is definitely one of those turning moments in life. They call it the transformation day. Because back at UPW 2 years ago, we heard triad for the first time, and I thought it was like state story strategy. Apparently, that's like a completely different framework.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, yeah, like triad. And it wasn't until I think this year, so it took like a year and a half for it to like really click, and I was like, okay, yeah, that thing's freaking important.
I think it just clicked for me today.
Really? Yeah. No. Yeah. Same. Like literally same. In a way that made me feel like, oh, I can really do something with this. Yeah,
it's
man.
just like, oh wow,
crazy,
like it makes so much sense. Like you're saying, like rehearsal, like why do they have you get up and dance and do all this stuff?
The
It's
triad,
like
yeah.
You're rehearsing the triad that makes you feel good. So now that we have written down our new triads, every single day we call upon it and just practice it, even if we're not in the old triad. So that's very powerful, and I'm excited to try it.
Yeah, it's cool. You really can't go wrong, you know, because it all goes back to the triad, you know, and that's at the basis form of all these events and coaching and like what's happening in the world, right? Like it's making the invisible forces that hold you back tangible and real, and you can see them and you're like, oh wow, yeah, that's why I am the way that I am. And like the craziest thing that blows my mind is not only how people reject this type of material, but those that are just so ignorant towards the fact that like this stuff like, oh, is woo woo or isn't real or doesn't make any sense. It's like, guys, we all have bodies. We all speak some language. Verbal, nonverbal, I don't care. We all are focusing on something. Like if you could at least agree with me there, then you can start to strategically see how you are doing all of these all at the same time for your whole life until you die. So you're either doing it good or you're doing it bad. Yeah. And the way that you're doing it is getting you what you have. And if you want something different, then you have to do something different. Hence, change this triad, your body, your focus, your language, your meaning, so on, so have you. And then you'll get something different, right? Mm-hmm. And it's like you just keep fine-tuning it throughout your life. Because like I said earlier, you have one triad. You have the opportunity to have a different triad, but you will only just have one triad. So you're either conditioning a new one, or you're living the same triad that you had in high school or elementary school, or even worse when you were like a child, because there's literally some adults in this world that literally have the same focus, body, and meaning and language as they did when they were like 9 years old. And I'm sure you're probably thinking of somebody. So it's some like really like crazy stuff. You gotta be really careful with it. But yeah, there's my raw, unfiltered 90-second spin on that.
Yeah.
So, all right, guys. Trying to think, is there anything else that really stood out today?
I mean, again, it was a lot, but just that. It was very early on in the day, but there was a speaker who was talking about teamship. Like a leader is somebody who builds other leaders, not just somebody who, directs others on what to do. So, leadership is about co-elevation. One thing that he really talked about that I wrote in my decisions, and like we should definitely talk about this after, is weekly accountability sprints. So in that, you are having one person say what they achieved last week, what they struggled with last week, and what they will complete next week. And then you're having a thoughtful kind of debate and feedback. So we are the team right now for voice expansion. So I would say what I achieved, what I struggled with, what I completed, and then Ryan would have the input and just give me like thoughtful feedback on each of those 3, and then we can debate the feedback and say like, I'll implement this. I'm going to go a different way or what have you. And another big question that really spoke to me is asking in any type of context, relationships, business, work, what is a conversation we should be having that we aren't having? And that just like opens up the floor to your blind spots and things you might not be thinking about. So that was a little snippet of what I got from day 3. Day 3 was jam-packed.
Yeah.
It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, just remember, guys, solving your problems are solving your triads. I had that thought today, and because I was telling Sam, I was like, man, yesterday, we're doing like the pattern interrupt exercise, and I felt that state, like see my focus and my energies going down because I feel that emotional stress where I'm just like, yeah. And this is kind of sometimes like off camera, this is like sometimes a state that I get into that I don't want to be a part of. I shared it a lot today, so I'm able to do it now and like tap into that state where I just feel like, man, yeah, I just want to throw it all away and just do all the wrong things. But it's like then you gotta like change it. Like you have to take control of it, right? It's like you have to interrupt it. You have to catch it. Like it's not about like, all right, I'm gonna be a master overnight, but it's like about catching yourself and then saying, okay, yeah, like I'm gonna step into this new triad because I'm trying to solve this problem in my life. Like I don't want to live in emotional stress. Like I want to live in emotional peace, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's like that's where you change your body. You change your focus, you change your meaning, you change your language, and then that's what gives you the purpose to really level up in life. And that's leadership, right? Tony says, you don't, when you look at life, when you look at anything, like don't see it worse than it is. Sam and I like had that huge realization, and I was thinking things were so bad in my life, and things aren't really good, and I saw things so bad, and it's like where focus goes, energy flows. I'm sure you've heard that a million times, but what you focus on, you become, or you attract, you like lean into. And there was like a talks of a story one time where it's like, why do people drive into telephone poles when they're getting in car accidents? It's because they're focusing on the telephone pole, right? So I mean, I can't speak for Sam, but I can say at least for me, like I was thinking about, like everything is so bad and everything's not good, but you got to really see it how it really is, how it truthfully is, and stop comparing yourself to I'm just kind of talking to me, but it's like, don't hold a impossible, unrealistic standard. There's like the current life circumstances that you have, the current triad that you have, and then like your ideal world where it's like, that's where I want to be. And that's like the third piece is you want to see it better than it is, right? Like you don't want to be delusional so much so that you think things are so bad because the contrast of the two realities is conflicting with each other. Rather much so, you see it how it is and create a life where you're on the trajectory to creating a triad, to creating a future, to creating a reality where you can then achieve what it is that you want back of your life circumstances. And then just, like we talked about, like conditioning it, rehearsing it, and then just making your reality easier to achieve, because it's really just one triad away. So.
That was great.
If you guys want to hear more, we got one more day tomorrow. Just one more. It's the 4th day of the last Leadership Academy ever.
Yeah. We didn't show them the sign. Like we said we would.
The sign, yeah, I know. I remember there was something.
It was like, they saw the yes one.
Oh, you want to show them?
You guys can see tomorrow.
No, we can't do them like that. We got to show them. You guys, if you stuck around this long in the video, you guys definitely deserve it. You guys thought we didn't want to show it. Go on ahead and show them. It's all you.
Are you guys ready? You can't even see. I can't see it. Good frog! Bad frog.
Wow, yeah, there is so much to unpack there.
I know.
Sensory acuity. If you guys want to learn about sensory acuity, you know what to do. Big day tomorrow. Alright guys, that's it. We're going to see you tomorrow. The vlog is going to keep on going on.